Well, and the pandemic just gets stranger and stranger, and we'll spend as much time. I know sometimes on the phones y'all want to talk about it. Here's where we are. We've got the economy spiraling. We've got the airline industry down 95%. We've got people losing jobs, businesses that are never going to come back. People are sick. People are quarantined, and you're starting to see now, and this is not going to help people. We have the woman who said, I'm not shutting down my salon. We saw a judge give her a speech. She said, in all due respect, you're not selfish when you're just trying to make a living and you want your employees to have jobs. She's been released from jail.
Yeah, the Texas Supreme Court ordered her released immediately, and she was released from jail yesterday.
Glad to see that. Somebody kind of siding on the freedom and the liberty of the people. And I see. I even see now in our states, there's people that are opening. We've covered one. I had another story, and I don't know the details of it, but I'll look into it. Where somebody says now a restaurant says they're opening, they're not going to stay closed, and so we're rumbling. We're rumbling out there.
Yeah.
It's a balancing act, but I think, the more we see, the science of it, the numbers every day, we learn more. Let me warn everybody about something, and this is something the media's doing that's driving me crazy, and some that I even like, okay? When they will come out with a story, well, numbers jumped 300 more infected yesterday. That does not mean a hill of beans because you don't know how many tests they did.
Right.
You don't know how many tests they did last week or the week before.
Right.
That doesn't matter at all.
It doesn't.
You need to track people being hospitalized for it and people who are dying. Those are two important numbers. That's where the rubber hits the road.
Yeah, the people infected. That number is impossible to follow because there's so many.
Yeah, you don't know how many
variables.
tests was done on that day or any other day. Right. So it's always a percentage of the tests done.
Well, and now you've transitioned because I want to make sure everybody's clear about this too. And just do your homework, pay attention.
Just remember that when you hear these stories, okay? Look for deaths, look for people hospitalized. How many new cases we have doesn't matter a bit because you have no reference point with it.
Correct. Well, now, just so you don't think it's a bunch of yahoos on the Rick and Bubba show, it's a bunch of commentators on TV or a bunch of political analysts on radio.
Did you say connotators?
I don't know what I said. I tried to say commentators.
Commentator?
Yeah.
Them too.
Yeah, me too.
Got to watch them.
Yeah, just like Pastor Hodge said. but what I'm saying is this. The medical field, they are disagreeing amongst themselves. Doctors are coming forward saying, I do not agree with what's being presented by Dr. Fauci. I do not agree with what we're doing. I do not agree that we should have shut down the whole economy. I do not agree that this is worse than influenza season. And now that's starting to come out, and they're writing papers, and they're getting on, the different technologies and saying, we saw the doctors from California saying, hey, we see patients every day. Dr. Fauci hasn't seen a patient in 20 years. And then there's the weirdness of demonizing some drugs and then promoting other drugs, and they're saying some of that is that hydroxychloroquine is having great success. There's a doctor in France said 91% of my patients fully recovered, and they started recovering immediately when I gave them hydroxychloroquine, and so there. Just so you know, this is what is not true. It isn't true that the medical field and the scientists are saying one thing and all of us yahoos who don't know what we're talking about are saying something else. That is not true.
It's all over the road.
It's all over the road. And this is not going to help. We have a story today. Anthony Fauci needs to explain his $3.7 million to the Wuhan laboratory. This is being reported by the Washington Times.
Yeah, that's not a conservative outlet, by the way.
This is not. I don't know. Is it more conservative than the Washington Post? I know the Post.
I can't remember which one is which.
Yeah, I think it may be more conservative than that, but it's still. What I'm saying is, this isn't something Sean Hannity's breaking, or whatever. And they're saying that as we look into Fauci's little world, we're seeing some things that need to be explained.
I have seen the number moved around in this story. Is it 3.7 million or 37 million?
This one story I'm holding says 3.7.
Okay.
Yeah, and
one of the other headlines had, I think it was a typo. I think they had 37.
Well, yeah, one of them's a typo. The story I have here says 3.7.
I'm going with that.
The bottom line is they want to know in 2014. Now keep in mind, Fauci, was part of Team Obama. Let's not.
He's been a team of a lot of them.
Yeah, he's been
including Obama.
How about this? Fauci is a Democrat. Okay, he as a citizen, he lives his life as a Democrat, votes Democrat, supports Democrats. Now, if you want to believe that he puts all his politics aside when he's doing his job and he's looking out just as pure as a driven snow for the well-being of our country, you can believe that, and maybe that's true. I don't know. But I tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to be told that I can't oppose Fauci. I'm not going to be told that I can't question Fauci. Fauci's not my daddy and Fauci's not my king, okay? Fauci is a man, and it's possible that if Fauci has some things that look a little shady, then he needs to explain it just like anybody else. Fauci is not you can't speak out against Fauci. Yes, I can. And so can anybody else. And his own medical field is speaking out against Fauci. Some of them don't agree with it.
We had that video, the plandemic, that, by the way, it looks like it's been pulled and people are renaming it and putting it back up, and then it's up, it's down, it's all over the place. But get this, Rudy Giuliani, he was on a New York radio station. He suggested that a good U.S. Attorney General move about now would be to investigate key members of the past Barack Obama administration and their connection to the Wuhan, China laboratory and see, Rick, of course, what they knew and when they knew it.
Yeah, because in fairness to Obama, the Obama administration banned the funding of any lab that was involved in virus experimentation.
But somehow...
But Fauci went around that and gave them $3.7 million, and they want to know, why is Fauci funding this lab with the stuff that's going on there? What is he doing?
It's a fair question. It's a fair question.
And you're allowed to ask it. And Fauci may have a great response.
And
he may say, well, I'll tell you why I was doing that, and we go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he needs to answer it.
Remember, we had a guy at one of the universities that got arrested early on for working with China on some of that stuff. Do you remember the name of the guy? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, a lot of this is very, very shady. Not even referring to the plandemic video that was up, but stuff like this, when there was a ban against working with, and we know that U.S. doctors and scientists had been to the lab. They had pictures. Mm-hmm. That's how we know they were handling things sloppy.
Yeah.
And they were working with 2 labs in the U.S. So what was really going on here?
I don't know.
It's just very, Rick, I think it needs some explaining.
Yeah.
Well, as Ricky used to say, Lucy.
And I saw a paper yesterday of a doctor out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and he said this thing turned into hysteria, and the people who turned it into hysteria, because he said you go back and you look, the great Fauci was telling us it wasn't any big deal, and you go look over here, and we were being told by the same people that we started trusting that they were saying, this is going to be fine, it's just another, flu season, it's a flu we don't know about, but we don't think it's going to be anything, over the top. We've dealt with them, we always deal with them, and we'll figure it out. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of all this conversation, hysteria started. Yep. And then these doctors are saying, and when it got out of hand is when now hysteria is being advanced by people who do not have the expertise in the fields that involve all this. And now everybody's, turning this thing upside down. Yeah. And when you look deeper at it and you look at it, it is not anything anybody would want to catch. Hey guys, I got news for you. Does anybody love to catch influenza? Mm-hmm. I don't. And you know what this doctor said? I treat influenza patients every single year, and they're a lot sicker by percentage than people who get COVID-19. He said, now when COVID-19 has a bad deal with somebody, it's bad. But influenza is bad on everybody who gets it.
Yeah.
And he said, COVID-19, we got tens of thousands of people that it hadn't affected their life in any way, shape, or form. He goes, we don't have that with influenza. When you get influenza, you're down. You're at home. And so they're starting to say we should have just dealt with it like a flu season, and like we do every flu season. And we've destroyed people's way to make a living, and we've destroyed an economy, and I think likely unnecessarily.
We'll see. We will see. The truth will come out, just like it has with General Flynn.
Right.
Did you see all that yesterday?
Oh,
unbelievable!
Now,
unbelievable.
But remember now, if something like that can happen, but now over here, you can't question anything.
Rick, that should scare every American.